It is 7:03 p.m. This open meeting of the Grafton Zoning Board of Appeals is being conducted both remotely and in person, consistent with the temporary provisions of the open meeting law, which extends remote meeting protocols through March 31st, 2027. This meeting is convening via Zoom video conference and in person, as posted on the meeting agenda, which can be found on the Town of Grafton website. Please see the meeting agenda for details on how to participate remotely. Please note that this meeting is being recorded. All participation in this meeting will be visible to others. Screen share, please be careful as anything may be recorded and broadcast later. This meeting may feature public comment. For anyone attending virtually, if you'd like to request acknowledgement to speak, please use the raise hand feature in Zoom, and the meeting administrator will enable you to speak. For those on the phone, the meeting administrator will enable you to speak. For anyone in person, we ask you to step up to the podium. And for all speakers, please state your name and address prior to your comments or questions. And each vote taken in this meeting will be done by roll call vote.
Actually, we're all here. I think we don't need to do that. Right, we don't have any members on Zoom.
Nope, all members are
But
present.
I think we still have to do roll call vote. I think.
Maybe. Okay.
I think. All right. Well, with that, I'll turn it over to Vice Chair McCusker.
So we'll reopen case number, it's 910, and welcome the applicant to join us at one of these tables.
So I'm just gonna make a really quick comment. You guys really need to speak into your mics. When I'm replaying the video, I can't hear you, which means if anybody's watching this, they cannot hear you. So I just want you guys to make sure you speak into your mics, please. Thank you.
Thank you. For the record, John Grenier, Jam Grenier Associate. I'm here with Stephen Benincasa, who is the proponent and owner of the property. So since our last meeting, what we did to give the board more information is to look at some profiles for Snow Road at the intersection of 122 to look at what the slopes would be, how the intersection would work, particularly with where we were turning the section of Snow Road so that it is, at least in the southbound side, we'd have two lanes there that are closer to being at a 90-degree angle to 122 for better visibility. So we did two sets of plans. One was if we went under the subdivision regulations that would typically is for a new roadway, and which we would have a 3% leveling area for the first 100 feet, and then transitioning up to with a vertical curve up to an 8% slope, and then again that would be under subdivision standards for a new road. So we did that, and that is what's shown as option B, and there's a few sheets associated with that. The issue with that is obviously over 3% landing area. It makes it flat at the intersection of 122, but then when you go to the north, heading past Maxwell Drive and some of the other abutting properties, with cutting that slope down that flat and then transitioning, you're way in the ground. So on
Wait, what do you mean way in the ground? What does
Yeah,
that mean?
what does that
Much lower than
it's
existing
much lower. So,
driveways.
yeah, I was going to point out, if you look at that on this sheet, there's
One sheet.
sheet 1 for option B.
Oh, I see. Right there.
Yeah, we have a match. We had to take the profile and we had to so it fit through like a match line and jog it. That's why you see a step in those lines. And right at where that match line is on the right, it says Maxwell Drive intersection from station 1 plus 75 to 2 plus 15. The existing grade at Maxwell Drive it ranges from elevation 333 to about 336. And where the road would come into that is at about elevation 325. So you have about a 9 to 10 foot cut. So it's just, when you're going in, you're just coming in so low and gradually going up. So as you hit Maxwell Drive, Maxwell Drive's 10 feet up in the air.
Yep.
Similarly, when you go by the common driveway, that's for number 6 and 8 Snow Road, which is on the other side of the street a little bit further up, where you can't, at the 8% slope, it takes so long to catch up. You're at like 7.5 feet below their driveway grade. So it doesn't, you can't go by straight subdivision standards. If it was a brand new road, raw land, you'd make your cuts, knock your lot grades down, make your driveways work. But where obviously Snow Road is an existing road that gives access to multiple abutting properties, we don't have that luxury. So the other plan,
Are
which
you
is,
building walls, by the way? Are you building walls because of these cuts?
No.
well, it doesn't
Steve?
work.
Steve,
Oh.
closer to your mic, please.
No, I
No.
mean, there's no way that there's no way that you
Snow
can-
Road is 7 feet below, so it just doesn't.
You can't do it.
Oh, I realize that, yeah. I wouldn't want to be the person living in that house that you're gonna have a driveway like that.
No, it wouldn't be that.
I
It's
think
seven.
what they're saying is,
You're gonna need
It's
ladder.
7 foot. Yeah, you need a ladder, an elevator.
Yeah,
I think what they're saying is this option B, they're not gonna be able to do it, and the reason they're not gonna be able to do it is because of the significant cuts.
Correct.
So that's why I think he's
Correct.
moving on to
So
A.
that was just to show you that's why it doesn't work. So with the design and the grading that we had done previously, we did a profile for that, for how that would work into the site, and that includes at the shoulder, at the intersection of 122 and Snow Road,
Which is option A, right?
which is option A, and where we're turning the southbound aisles so that they're more 90, that profile of that leg, we would have for a stretch of 30 feet from the curb line, a leveling area of 5%. And then for another 30 feet, it transitions up to 10% for about a length of, I think it's about 115 feet. So it's generally a short section that's at 10%, it's about 115 feet, and then it transitions down to 5% where you would be coming into Worcester Street. So that we catch up to grade at about the intersection of existing Maxwell Drive. So given where the abutting driveways are and the abutting properties are, we believe that this works the best given the circumstances. And just for a point of reference, we had looked at what the slope of existing Snow Road is, which is angle, and that is at about 7 to 7.5% grade right now. So what we're doing is taking about a 7% grade and then going for 30 feet at 5%, so you have a better leveling area, and then transitioning up to a 10% so you can catch back up to existing grade further up the hill on Snow Road. So we think that this, in our opinion, is the best way to work it given the conditions on site. And with that said, we are still, and I've reached out, I was playing a little phone tag with a gentleman over at DOT to try to sit down with them, because ultimately DOT is going to be the ultimate judge of how we're tying into their state road. So this is something that would be reviewed by DOT. We have to get a curb cut permit. We will be making that application. Because it's going to be a town road, the application, although we're doing everything, is technically signed by the by the town, whether it's through the town manager, through the DPW or the highway department. So they will be part of the process as well, because it's technically they're signing on the application. And again, we'd be dealing with DOT on how everything will tie into their system, and whether it's the road grades, the drainage, the other infrastructure that will have to be modified, where catch basins are going because it doesn't work. So we are fully on board with this proposal to, again, have the turning of Snow Road for the southbound lanes, modifying that intersection. That we did talk to the housing authority, and they are on board with using some of their land. We did do some title research on Maxwell Drive for the housing authority's property to see if does the state have anything of ownership, because they work with the state on the public housing. And the title report that we get back, it's solely under the control of the housing authority. So there's no other hoops to jump through with other entities potentially. And there's existing town easements that go through Maxwell Drive, because the sewer turns and goes cross-country through Maxwell Drive. That comes down. So there's other easements that are in place as part of the housing authority's property. This would ultimately, whether it's a taking or an easement, we'll have to work with the town on that and how they would like to make that formalized. But we are fully on board with moving forward with this option to DOT, and they may have, obviously they're going to have input. They may want us to tweak things, change a few things. It's, again, we're working under their umbrella, so to speak. So what we would like to do is have at least a blessing from you folks that, or a condition with you folks that we will present this to DOT, work with DOT and the town, whether it's the highway department, et cetera, to move forward on this layout. And then just knowing that DOT is the ultimate judge on, and they make the rules of what they will allow us to do to tie into their right of way. So that's kind of the long and short of it. If you have any questions or comments, we'd like to address them.
Yeah, I actually do. Katrina, could you put option A up on the screen, first sheet? No,
That's
not
option
option
A.
A.
That's option A.
I want this.
Which one? Oh, you want the second page?
Well,
Well, it's the first page. I don't have it.
Well, it's the bottom part of the first page. This is what you want, though, right? The slope?
I don't know. Does that say option A in the legend on the right?
option B or option A?
Option
This is
A.
option A.
Okay, yeah. All right, so, yeah, shift back over. So when I'm looking at the stuff there to the left of the match line, what is the dotted line? It
That's-
says existing center line grade, but,
But that's going cross-country. That's going through the slope where we're gonna be cutting into the housing authority's property.
but is that the current grade?
That's the current grade going through their lawn.
Okay, and then pointing to the same line, it says edge of existing road pavement.
Right, and that's where, if you look at on the plan view up top, where I have a center line, and at the curb line, it's 0 plus 0, 0, then it goes up 0 plus 50, and then you go up to 1 plus 0, 0, which is
Yep,
station 100. That's where you're hitting the curb line of existing Snow Road. That's where you're hitting the curb of existing Snow Road. And then, so to the right of that is going within the roadway of Snow Road.
Okay,
Does that make sense?
yep. All right, so you're saying, but the existing Snow Road, which of course is not the same thing as what we're looking at here, has a grade of 7%.
Yeah, seven,
Seven, I mean,
7, 8,
Somewhere in that
it
area.
kind of, it bounces a little bit, but it's in that range.
okay. All right, so then it's a 10% grade until it hits the existing Snow Road, and it'll tone down, it looks like from then on, it's,
It's like 8. If you
8%
look,
of it.
yeah, if you look at where it shifts down from the match, and it says
Yeah.
8% plus or minus.
yeah, okay. All right, I just want to make sure I was understanding what I was looking
Right.
at here.
So it's going from 8%, goes down to 10% for about 100 and I think
Yeah.
it's about 115 feet, and then levels back out to 5%.
Yeah, okay. All right, questions from the board?
So what's the maximum grade currently on Snow Road? Like the center of the road?
About 7.5%, 8%. And that's that's pretty consistent on the existing road. That's pretty consistent heading down to the intersection of 122. We're providing a little better leveling area with this plan to go down to 5%.
So you're showing here the dashed line, you said is where on?
It's this, that doesn't exist yet.
Oh,
That's the dirt, the lawn that,
got it.
Yeah, that's where you're going down and then, you hit the curb and you're turning.
What about the grade on the remainder of Snow Road that meets the other side of the island?
We're really not touching that. We're leaving that
Okay.
pretty much how it is right now.
but that's what you're saying is roughly
Yeah,
about 7%.
yes, correct. Yeah.
So then elevation wise, it is just looking at this, the right-hand side of the island,
Up Snow Road?
up Snow Road, yep. What's the height difference, I guess? Does it flat all the way across? Or does the island drop off?
The island drops off on the 2-lane side. It drops off a little
Well,
bit.
because 140 is dropping off there, so it has to meet
But
140.
If you see,
you have a different slope on if you're coming down Snow Road, you can take a right, you can go to the right of the island or to the left of the island, right?
No,
No, if you're going up, you can go to the right.
yeah.
yeah,
Going up
that's,
to the right,
that's on the lower side of the sheet, that's
that's one way.
one way.
Okay.
And that's following the existing Snow Road. If you see like cutting through, I see on the plan view, it says existing curb. That's the existing curb line of Snow Road as it is now. And then you can see the island narrows that section of it up
Okay.
a little.
I
So,
misunderstood.
so again, that new strip is going to be slightly different because it's meeting 140 at a little lower grade. So in order to meet the grades at both ends.
Right.
So,
Okay, I get you.
so
Yeah.
I just want to say another thing about, as from a layperson, because John's the only engineer here. When you build a road like that and you do it 10%, 8%, 6%, it's the length that really exacerbates that. So if you have a 10% road grade for 100 feet, that's way less than if you had an 8% for 300 feet. You know, the fact that that's so short, 100 feet, how long does it take to go 100 feet in a car? It's like a second. So it's not going to be as drastic as looking at the plan and say, oh, you're going 10%. Sounds worse than it is, but it's really not because it's so short.
Right.
And you know, we build roads, we design roads all the time in new conditions, and we just go with the regulations. It's 3%. We don't have any driveways to match up. We don't have any butters to deal with, and we own all the land. It's not an issue. Here, we're working with the abutters, and that's why we're having to tweak it back and forth. And I think, John did a really good job at doing that. And it's all trade-offs. It's all trade-offs.
Right. You're
Flat,
saying what's the-
leveling area, steepness area, matching the driveways. It's all give and take.
what's the best we can do given the constraints?
Any other questions or comments from the board?
Going down, is that sidewalk on the side? Or is that, what is that?
It's on that side, yes.
I mean, is it drawn in? Is that what them,
On the
on the right-hand side going down?
yeah,
Oh, yeah, on the right-hand side going down.
on the right hand. Oh, if you're heading
Right here.
to
To
from-
Worcester Street, right?
Yeah, that's a proposed sidewalk.
That's a proposed sidewalk? Mm-hmm. Why does it make such a curve at the top?
Because you mean on the Maxwell Drive side?
Yeah, is it meeting another one there, or?
Well,
Yeah, there is a little sidewalk over there.
we're gonna be having we're gonna widen the sidewalk on the other side of Maxwell Drive.
Your answer is right. It is meeting another sidewalk.
Is there a
Okay.
sidewalk on
Yes.
there? Going in, oh yeah, that's right.
You know,
Yeah, to Maxwell Drive, there is a sidewalk. You're right.
Okay.
Yes.
And then we're gonna have a handicap ramp right there at the radius, and then.
Speaking of sidewalks,
Of course, we're gonna wait till we do anything till Jeff,
yeah,
gives his opinion on this, I
yeah.
imagine.
I'm just gonna stop sharing to check and see if he's in yet.
Planning board is 8%?
Yeah. We've gotten waivers on that on.
No, I'm not,
past,
I'm
but
just
yeah. But
asking.
it's subdivision.
I don't think that 2%
subdivision
is a big
standards
deal.
is max 8%.
For years, it was 10% though. For a lot of years.
Was it?
Yeah.
The issue though is it's not the steepness of the road going up, it's the steepness of the road coming down. That's the concern, is that you have a steep slope as you're approaching 122.
Mhm.
That's what we're trying to solve.
Right.
Is to make that more safe.
Right.
But with the
And-
leveling area, it is safer.
Right. Right now, on Snow Road, there isn't really much, on the existing Snow Road, there's not much of a leveling area, and it's just a straight pretty much a 7%-ish. And then it goes into like 7-8%. So if we want to say a straight 7% and didn't have a leveling area, we could probably get rid of that section of 10%. But I think the trade-off is I'd rather have a small section at 10% if then you can come down into and transition into a 5%. So from 60 feet off of the curb line of 122, you're transitioning from 10% and then it gets, it's a vertical curve, and then it goes from 10% 60 feet away down to 5%, and it's a flat 5% for 30 feet. So in trade-offs, I think that's probably, again, Jeff can chime in, and I'm sure DOT will chime in. DOT likes to see a 5% leveling area coming into their right-of-way, not a straight 7%. So we thought that was, given the conditions, that was the best way to balance it.
Years ago, all the roads were built straight right down in, no leveling area. Now, we have a leveling area in everything we built, everything.
Can I ask you a question? How does this compare, how does the profile compare to the last version of the street that you had designed?
This is the same.
Option A
Yes.
is the same as what you had proposed before.
Yes, in terms of, but we just did a profile to show how it was, at least in numbers, and you could see the profile and
So-
cross section of it.
So you're showing A and B, but is there something in between? Like, you're matching the road when it gets to Maxwell Drive, right? Is
Right.
there an alternative C where maybe you don't match the elevation of Maxwell Drive, but maybe it's like 1 feet or 2 feet difference versus 7?
And would that be about having a,
To allow a more gradual slope coming up rather than 10?
Dan, you can do anything you want. It's a question of, is a 1 foot, you're gonna have a car that's gonna jump up 1 foot? But,
Well, obviously you'd have to grade it.
Right.
I'm just asking. Like,
Well, we're going into
it's all
pri-
about trade-offs.
if
I'm
we,
just asking.
if we go into private property, we can grade anything we want, but, from a matter of our right to do that, we don't have that right to do that.
What's Maxwell Drive? That's housing authority.
Well, that's one right, but we have another road right across the street, private owners, that already have a steep driveway themselves, which would just, if that driveway would get steeper, and I have to say that if I lived there, I wouldn't want that on my driveway.
so if we went to, like you said, into an 8% slope?
I'm just asking. Like,
Oh, so-
are there other alternatives?
You can do anything, you
yeah,
can do
yes.
anything, you could say, instead of a leveling area of 3%, you go leveling area of 4%, 5%, you could do anything.
So if we went from our 5% leveling area, and then we transitioned to an 8%, the existing road is at like 7 or 8%. So you're not catching up. You got to make it a little steeper so you can catch up. Otherwise, you're still, at a minimum a few feet below the existing grade, and you're just kind of paralleling it, and you just keep going. So
Yeah, I guess my question is more, if you were 2 feet off at Maxwell Drive and the neighbor across the street, and that's going up, right? Across the street?
Yes.
that driveway goes out.
Yeah, so if there's a 2 foot difference, is that easier, not easy, but is that feasible to match through grading on those two properties? And would that make a difference? I'm not saying it is, I'm just asking, like, would that allow for an 8% or 9% grade that might be safer than 10?
Well, you'd have to do a taking.
That's right on the edge of the road, and then you'd have to go way into their property to ramp their driveway down to
Right.
Snow Road.
Right.
So,
But
and
they're 100 feet further
a little,
up the road, right?
yeah,
At least.
they are, but
No, it's directly
even
across
if we went at
Maxwell's.
8%,
It is?
it's,
Not
no,
according to
if
this
you
plan.
look, it's there.
Could you put the plan back up?
Yep.
This?
This is that driveway.
Oh, I thought this was it.
No, that is a swath that the, Stop and Shop
Oh,
plaza.
so the driveway's way up here?
That's the driveway of the neighbors. That's the common driveway that serves a neighbor.
Oh.
But if we went, say, at 8%, it just would be paralleling the slope of Snow Road. And you have to pick it up a little bit so you can catch up. So,
Okay, so I guess my point is that I
Like,
didn't realize those
for-
is further up the hill. I mean,
Yeah.
it's possible to do maybe 8 for a stretch, and then up to 10, or maybe even 11 or something, just to catch up when you get to that private driveway.
But I think, and I see what Dan's saying,
you
where
could look at a
I don't have
million
an answer,
different
I'm just asking,
iterations.
like,
You could look at all different kind of iterations where it's only a small, like 115-foot section that's at 10% to catch up. And it's transitioning. I think that works best. I mean, you could try to drop it down and just keep going, but at that point,
A person driving in a car would not notice the difference between an 8 and 10% grade for 100 feet. Now, again, I'll say if it's 300 feet, absolutely you would notice. At 100 feet, it would not be distinguishable from, I wouldn't be able to tell.
The issue is not whether the driver notices it. The issue is whether it makes it safer for when the guy is stopping in a snowstorm and he can stop safely.
Well, it's
before he
much
gets
safer
someone.
with the leveling area, Dan. Much safer. Much safer with the leveling area.
I'm talking about your comment just now about he's not noticing it. My point is that it's not about what you notice. The issue is braking distance, reaction time, braking distance.
Well, length adds all into that, Dan. You can't ignore length.
right. And
We just need Jeff to.
yeah, and we can have Jeff
Sure,
opine on this.
sure.
because you could use part of Maxwell Drive to level that out or make up the additional foot or two, to buy a little.
And maybe knock it down 1% and
It's really the house across the street though, isn't it, John?
well, that is further up.
Is it that, is it?
It's,
Okay.
so, like I said, we could look at
Infinite amount of
infinite amount of you know, mixing and matching slopes, leveling areas, grades. But we thought that this made sense is all.
You know, it's kind of funny. The 10% didn't necessarily bother me. What bothered me more was 30 feet of 5%. Mm-hmm. 30 feet's a car length and a half at the most, right?
Right.
Not lots of anything.
It's short.
I was looking for, you know,
And then it is, but you have to, then it is, it's not going
then there's a-
directly up to 10%. There's a 30-foot
Vertical
long
curve.
vertical curve, so
Yeah.
it is a trans.
So it's really more than 30 feet.
So,
yeah, but it's not that big of a leveling area.
no.
You know,
Agreed.
so
And-
if anything, you know, would it be better to have more of a leveling area? But let's see what Jeff has to
Right,
say.
Yeah.
and just as a comparison, that has a better leveling area than current Snow
Yeah.
Road does, right?
Which has no leveling area.
Which really has no leveling. There might be
No,
a little bit.
I understand that. I
Okay.
understand that. It's an improvement,
Right.
absolutely. Just getting back to the sidewalks, where are we with respect to sidewalk in this stretch of road? I'm not seeing anything necessarily drawn in other than the new one on Maxwell. So as far as the existing Snow Road, are we still crossing the street? And-
Yes.
Okay.
What
And
about
but
the
we're gonna make improvements, obviously, we're gonna widen up, because where the utility poles are, we're gonna widen up those and put handicap, there are some areas that on Maxwell Drive, on both sides of Maxwell Drive, that don't have handicap ramps. So we're gonna add handicap ramps, widen it, so that you have adequate width, and the poles aren't, you know, right on the edge of the,
So I thought at one point I thought we were asking for at least more of an attempt at trying to get the sidewalk onto, I guess, what is that, the east side?
East side.
on the east side.
So we did talk to that abutter, and they are definitely against the
Right,
sidewalk.
you mentioned that, but then the question was, you know, is there any way to get it in the existing right of way?
Yeah, Brian asked you for a survey at the last meeting. You said you were gonna do a you're gonna have your guy go back out there and do a survey of those properties.
We have, the existing curb line, on this, I had to send him back out, he didn't locate that wall, you know, he didn't locate that wall, it was outside the right of way. So, but if you look at where that curb line is in relation, on either side of where that existing driveway is, you don't have the width for a sidewalk right there, it would only be, you know, maybe a 2 or 3 foot, if that.
We're not opposed to building a sidewalk there, we just don't have the land.
Yeah, but we could, you know, I guess that's kind of the surveyor, you know, is really nailing down that is where the property lines are and that's what you have. And then is there
That-
any opportunity to shift Snow Road the foot or two that you might need? So is there any way to grab the land that you need to keep it there? Keep the sidewalk on the east side? I mean,
I think we
we
need a more.
kind of talked about that and, you know,
And if you see where that property line, as we show it, that is the property line where the edge of the pavement is, that is the edge of the pavement. And if you look at that, from the edge of the pavement to the property line compared to the width of
West side.
sidewalk over on the Maxwell Drive side, I mean, you've got like this much room, if you're lucky.
I don't think I don't know, we allowed to build a 2-foot wide, I mean, the handicap
no, you wouldn't.
is 4 foot, so I don't,
Is there land that you could steal out of Snow Road, essentially you'd be stealing it from the Maxwell Drive property by shifting the road over? I mean, you say you got this much, well, how much more do you need to actually?
we need 4 feet, you know.
Is there, what are the
So-
specifications?
But that's where the
Yeah.
survey is necessary. And I feel like I think your survey needs to go back out and actually do a blow up of this section. Show, you know, this section
Yeah.
here, showing the
That's-
the wall, the curb line, right? The property line. 'Cause it's really hard to see it here, and also where the existing sidewalk starts, right? Is that across from Maxwell?
It is across Maxwell. You see there's a little bit of a,
Is it this line here?
yeah, that little jog right there. That's where the sidewalk on that side of the road, and that is actually on the Stop and Shop
Private
property.
property.
That's on the edge. The curb line of Snow Road is close to the property line, and it gets closer to the property line. as the further north you go, and then that sidewalk, that is on the Stop and Shop side, that's on Stop and Shop's property line, on their property, I should say.
Where, there's a sidewalk on the Maxwell Drive side, correct?
Correct.
Right in front of that, I'm looking at that, the building on the right, not the one on the left. The one on the right of Maxwell Drive. There's a sidewalk.
It goes all the way down, Pete, all the way down to Worcester Street.
Right, now if that sidewalk got moved right to the property line, then shift the road over.
But there's utility poles, I think.
Yeah.
Wasn't that
Well,
the
they'll,
issue?
it might take 2 years, but they'll move them.
But
It'll take
I'm
longer
serious,
than
no,
2
we
years.
did it on Worcester Street at Quincy Corner. It took years, I realize that, but
oh yeah, overall it's a better. But to Bill's point, I mean, look where the road, the narrowest point between the curb line and the property line is actually directly across from Maxwell Drive. So that is an area where you could push the paved surface in the other direction, because the utility pole is not in the way. The utility pole is in the sidewalk.
Look, if it can't be done, it can't be done. But we've talked about this a few times, and we definitely talked about it last meeting. Let's get the drawing down that shows that it can't be done.
Okay.
And there's been plenty of times in my history of doing all this stuff that when you actually get the surveys done and do the measurements, like, oh, actually, I guess we could do this. So, that's all we're asking for, and that's
Understood.
that's what we asked for last. Let's just, get a survey, get the engineers out there and draw it out, and if it can't be done, then fine.
Okay.
That's
So we'll,
And again, we don't have a problem doing it if the real estate's there, again.
right, and maybe we get surprised once you actually draw it out. Maybe we're surprised, and
Yeah.
we can do it.
Possible. You might,
I'd be shocked.
yeah,
but-
we would be,
But let's.
but you're right to
put
look
it in
at
black
it.
and white.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Any other questions or how about I mean, I know we haven't heard from Jeff, but any real concerns from anyone at this point? I mean, for the intersection, yeah.
So I think a couple points that I was gonna make, or, Mr. McCutcheon, you touched on one of them. I think the email we got from Jeff between Christmas and New Year's was kind of, laying out a bunch of different preferences. And in an ideal world, we'd have this, that, and the other thing. And I think if we went by that, he would have all sorts of issues with these plans. I think it calls for a minimum 60-foot leveling area, and things like that. So I think I'd be interested in his feedback just to see, all right, so this is the reality now that we've got the lineup of kind of what we're dealing with. What is the priority? I think one kind of logical plan C might be, instead of lining up the grade to match at Maxwell Drive, line it up to match at that first driveway. And if that, see what that gives us for a difference at Maxwell Drive, and is that manageable to give us either a longer leveling area or a shorter grade, or maybe both. But yeah, I think either way, I'd be curious to see how Jeff's preferences from that email would line up with this reality.
Isn't that first Maxwell driveway actually going down?
Yeah.
it does, yes.
So if you were below that, then that's not a problem.
I don't think so.
You don't think so? What?
I don't think it would be a problem.
Right.
Yeah, that slopes down off
They
of.
just have to regrade and pave part of probably Maxwell Drive.
Yeah. Yeah. So
It'd
I
probably
mean,
make it would probably make it better.
But to Brian's point, if instead of right now the drawing and the design is targeting catching Snow Road at Maxwell Drive, whereas if it actually pushed it so you're catching Snow Road at the existing driveway or just before it, then you'd be going by Maxwell Drive below it, but that wouldn't be a problem because Maxwell Drive drops off anyways.
You're right.
So so you may get a little bit more, either a more gradual rise or a longer leveling area, one or the other, or maybe a little bit of both. Yeah.
What's the size of that island?
Length and width,
The longer
the length.
way.
How long is it?
Yeah.
It's
stations there.
about a little under 100 feet long. If you're where I have my station one from where
Worcester Road.
where the southbound is, going from Snow Road onto Worcester Street, the center line goes from 0, at the curb line, and then when you get up that, that length of road, it's close. Station 100 is a little bit beyond the length of the island. You see where I'm talking?
So it's a little
On the
under
plan
100
view?
So
So it's a little under 100 feet.
little under 100 feet.
A little under 100 feet long.
So then, about a third of the length of the island is the 5%. Right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but then vertical curve.
And then 2/3, 30 feet is 5%. And then for the next 30 feet, it transitions from 5 up to 10%, so 60 feet.
So it's basically from Worcester Street to about that 320 line. It
Is
just
flat,
ballpark
correct,
is
correct.
the 5% grade, and the rest is
And then the vertical curve, it's gonna be flatter than
Yes,
the 10%.
yes. So from about where that 320 contour is, that's to the edge, the curb line of Worcester Street, that's all 5%.
so yeah. To Bill's point, it's a car length and a half. Or so, so I guess it may technically meet DOT's requirement, but it doesn't seem.
And again, DOT is they're gonna chime in and dictate how we're transitioning into their road as well. So they're not only gonna have a seat at the table, they're gonna be
Dictating the terms.
dictating the terms.
So you had mentioned that you were playing phone tag with somebody. You confident that you're gonna get good feedback, reliable feedback from them soon?
I called to try to get a meeting. I'd left a message. He called me back, left a message, and now I gotta try to,
Okay, you're still playing, but
yeah.
We're hopeful.
my question
So-
is,
so
We're hopeful.
do you
We're
think
hope-
you're gonna get reliable feedback from them? Like,
Yes.
Eventually.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, right. My concern is that you talk to somebody and then when it comes time to actually get the approval, somebody else says, you can't. And we're good.
Yeah,
Run it
it's
back
it's one of the head guys over at District 7.
Okay. Because I think that'll be important as well, right? I mean, if they turn around and say,
We want you to do-
you need 100 feet at 5%.
I don't see that happening, but
But-
to your point,
Yeah.
yeah, right.
Okay.
And then again, they make the rules.
Yeah.
So
No, exactly. I mean, so we're having all kinds of conversations here.
yeah,
And DOT may be like,
and the decision maker is
Right, it's
down
not
the
here,
street.
not at
yeah.
the table.
I mean, is there any way we could know their decision and what their input is before we
I think that was
approve?
my
Yeah.
point. That's
I
what he's
mean,
trying
yeah.
to
I
get.
mean,
Right.
so we would know what their thoughts are? So
We're
we
gonna
have it
know.
all laid
Well,
out?
you
We're
can
really not
impose
gonna have
a
any say.
condition- You can impose the condition here
Yeah,
that they need to have 3% leveling area for 100
Right.
feet or whatever it is. And if he goes back to DOT and they say, no, we're not going to approve it, then they'd have to come back here and modify it.
Right.
But I would think that what we're talking about is what they're going to want too. I mean, they want this as safe as possible too. I think
Absolutely.
our interests are aligned.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't want cars plowing into 122
Yeah,
up
they're not
Snow
going to say,
Road.
oh, no, we want a 5% grade if we
Right.
if we say we
No,
want a 3% grade.
but they could say they want more than what's here, right?
right.
Oh, even
Right, right. So right now we have
2%.
30% at
Yeah,
5.
Yeah.
I mean, we have 30
30
feet at
feet.
5.
Yeah.
They could say, no, it needs to be more than that.
Well, then that's their problem. They're going to have to
Right.
figure that out.
They're going to dictate
Yeah.
the rules.
But that's nothing we can do. That's
Right.
as long
So-
as it doesn't get worse.
Well, except that starts to affect other things. So, so I think we want to know that ahead of time. I think we really want to nail that down.
Right.
So we know what we're getting into. Okay. And any other thoughts or comments on the intersection? We're kind of waiting for Jeff. I do have a comment on the site plan, but I don't want, if anyone else has anything to say about the intersection or Snow Road.
I mean, I would just say that this is something that we've raised for a year, and talked about DOT approval getting DOT involved, and to just now be,
Well-
you know, trying to work through this with them. I mean, how, are we talking another year before that gets sorted out?
Well, I don't think, we can't do anything without a signed plan, right, John, for DOT?
Well, typically how it works with DOT is they want, if I was going for a site on Route 9, we would go through the site plan approval process, all the other processes, and get that approved locally, and then go to DOT for a curb cut, because DOT, they don't want people coming in every, week saying, oh, we're gonna do this, oh, wait a minute, we're gonna do that. They say, wait, finish your local process and then come to us.
No,
So-
but the meeting that you're trying to
So we're-
get now with DOT could have happened a year ago.
We're trying to kind of jump the line a little bit and get in front of DOT so that you feel comfortable. Typically, it would be get all your approvals done, get the plan signed, and then come talk to us. So we're trying to jump the line, so to speak.
It's not any different than the power company, the gas company. They won't talk to us until we have a signed plan. We can't go to the power company, we can't go to the gas company, we really can't go to the DOT until we have a signed plan.
Right, you're just trying to get some design input.
Yes,
No, I
yes.
understand.
So
mean, yeah.
we're, if
To
anything.
Brian's point, it could have been done sooner, but here we are.
Well, we could be having a conversation about where the power comes in, and we could all talk about that. You could condition it, we go to the power company, and they tell us, no, it's gonna go over here. And we'll be right back over there.
I got a question for Dan, just with the process.
Yep,
And this is a what if. We're under, the hell are we under? What's the name of
Safe
it?
harbor.
Safe harbor. So we put a condition on this with a plan approval, site approval, that this intersection has to be fixed. After we do that, they go to DOT. They can't appeal our conditions because we're under safe harbor, correct?
Correct.
But after we've signed off on all the plans and everything, they go to Mass DOT tells them go pound sand. And they come back to us and say, it's not our fault, we can't do anything with this intersection. And we say, well, you can't build a project then. Can they appeal to the state at that point?
So the process would be, they would be asking for a modification of our conditions.
Correct.
Eliminate this condition, we're not gonna make any changes to this intersection.
It's not our
Make it
fault,
The way
right.
it is. And the question is, would that modification decision be subject to safe harbor? That's a great question, it's never been answered.
It's never been
Never
answered.
been answered. My position would be, sure, it's all part of the same project, so it should be under safe harbor, but if we're out of safe harbor at that time,
Right,
that's a great question, I don't know.
you don't, well,
There's no case law, I wouldn't know the case law, there's no case law on it.
really? That's scary. Kinda,
The only other wrinkle might be the lip specifically required improvements to the intersection. So certain pieces of that would have to be included to still be compliant with the lip.
They'd have to modify the lip.
But,
Yep.
but then, I mean, you run the risk of a whole new application starting over.
So if there were hypothetically a condition to say that we said we would add the turning lane. The traffic engineers have both looked at it, they say, yes, the turning lane makes it markedly better. I don't see DOT saying, no, we don't want you to add a turning lane. I don't think they'll have a problem with that. They may have, obviously input on the slopes, the leveling areas, et cetera. So if there were a condition to the effect that we need to get approval from DOT and meet whatever standards DOT sets for this, I think that would be, obviously, we're adding the turning lane, and then in terms of the design, that's based on DOT standards.
If you put a condition that mandates that we build this a certain way, particularly, you get real specific, and then we go to DOT and they say, no, we want it done this other way, we'll be right back to you, for sure.
yeah,
well, that's
Right.
fine, that's fine.
What we'd like you to do is you could word it in a way that this is your preferred plan, this is the plan we'll move forward with, but if DOT tells us to do it a different way, that we have the flexibility to do it according to their wishes.
Yeah, so now you're getting into whether something is a substantial change or not, and that's something we can make a determination on when the time comes. I mean, there's gonna be some sort of a drawing that we're gonna say, you gotta build this. And, if DOT says something drastically different, then, or, you come back to us and we either make a determination, that's a huge difference. And we need to, have a little bit more conversation about it, or it's an insubstantial change, have at it.
Okay.
I mean, we just did this just before the last meeting with Eastwood. I mean, he came in and wanted to tweak the way, they were handing off the donated land. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
so, we do that all the time. And we'll handle it. I mean, I think we're very good about doing the right thing when it comes to things like that.
In the beginning, we agreed to make a turn lane that would drastically improve the traffic pattern. Now, we're getting very specific here about leveling areas and grading and allowing it, which was not part of our lip. We just agreed to make a turn lane. Now you're nailing it down, and I don't know if this is worthwhile or not, because again, none of us here have the ultimate say, but.
So we'll try to get some direction,
Trying to get some direction, and
At least-
also
at
we
least
need
get
to
a-
work on
what-
the sidewalks.
what they're, if they say, yeah, that seems reasonable, but and when we look at your formal application, but this seems like it's reasonable, at least get some level of confidence from them.
So I see that Jeff has joined us. So Jeff, we've gone through essentially their Plan A and their Plan B for the intersection. Plan B, essentially is not practical because of or the conclusion was that Plan B is not practical because of the significant cuts that would be required and things along those lines. So we've really focused on their option A. At this point, I guess we're looking for your commentary on both of them for that matter. If you think that option B actually is reasonable, then we want to hear that, I suppose, but
We
kind of
also,
focused on option A.
in a Plan C.
And then we were also talking a little bit about a Plan C that might try to extend the grading instead of meeting at Maxwell Drive, meeting Snow Road at Maxwell Drive, meeting Snow Road a little bit further down at the existing driveway.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. For the record, Jeff Walsh with Graves Engineering, the ZBA's engineering consultant on site and civil matters. With respect to their option Plan B, it certainly does not work, could not work to the sheer fact, the depth of cuts in the existing driveways that I think are number 6 and number 8. But using that profile, having heard a few discussions in previous public hearings, the option A is certainly, it's got a leveling area, a short one at Worcester Street, which is an improvement compared to existing conditions. But unfortunately, because of the topography out there, it makes the grade go from just under 9% at the steepest point to 10%. Mr. Chairman, if I may have the liberty, I emailed Katrina earlier today my version of an option C that doesn't go quite to the new site driveway, and I'd like to talk through this if I may. Okay, so what we're looking at here is me marking up John Grenier's plan, and what you're seeing, if we could scroll down a little bit, Katrina, the pink areas, the hatched pink areas up above, I'd like to describe what those are. Okay, your wider pink area on the left is, well, first of all, I'm sure you know we're looking at a profile down the center line of the alignment, which is the approach of Snow Road to Worcester Street. What has the dashed line is the existing center line along the new, and what you're seeing in the pink hat On the left is the intersection, the southern intersection of Maxwell Drive, and on the right up high is the driveway for number 6 and number 8 Snow Road. I put those in because number 6 and number 8 Snow Road, based upon the topography, has a downgrade coming from the residence to the edge of pavement of about 6.2%. So this is a design point that's, you really can't lower the road anymore in front of number 6 and number 8's driveway, because it would only make that driveway even steeper. And I highlighted Maxwell Drive because that's important for the same reason that we want to make sure that there's no negative repercussions of realigning vertically Snow Road with respect to gaining access into the southern part of Maxwell Drive. So what we're looking at here is on the what John Garenia had designed showed the proposed centerline grade. And that at its steepest point is 10%. And you can see where it lines up with the pink hatching, it basically meets, it ties into existing horizontal and vertical alignment. Thank you, right there. At Maxwell Drive, the beginning of Maxwell Drive. What I looked at next was, could we achieve 8%? So what I did was, if you wouldn't mind scrolling down a little bit, Katrina, thank you. At the vertical curve on the bottom left corner, that is the vertical curve where you come away from Worcester Street. Originally, you came away at 5%. Then you go through a vertical curve to get yourself up to a steeper grade, whatever that may be. And this is about as short of a vertical curve as you would want. We describe vertical curves with you see above it. K is the length of the horizontal length of the vertical curve divided by the changing grade. It's a way to describe how fast vertically the road grade changes. And this K is something that, based on what I've reviewed on many weeks ago, should accommodate comfortably the Grafton ladder truck, and it's not too abrupt. This is much more abrupt than you would want along the higher speed of a travel lane, even 30-mile-an-hour design speed, but nevertheless, near an intersection under these conditions, I didn't feel it was a problem. So coming away from that vertical curve, I said, what if we can do an 8%? And that's the lowest one. And it was orange when I drew it I see a yellowish now. Thank you. And that is what I was hoping we could achieve. And if you could scroll down, so we can see the other way, please. Thank you. As you can see, it was approaching the driveway in pink of number 6 and number 8, and we still didn't have room for that vertical curve to get us to the existing grade. So what that was going to require if we were at 8% is it would require an earth cut in front of number 6 and 8. So that didn't work. So what this told me is we've got to work between the driveway number 6 and 8 and Worcester Street. And then what I come up with for my thought on option C is the red line, which I came away from that vertical curve down near Worcester Street we talked about earlier. What I tried to do is get a earth cut in the center of Maxwell Drive of no more than, at the intersection of Maxwell Drive, no more than a foot, because that kind of split the difference between the 10% drawn here and the 8% that I sketched on. And then I put a vertical curve to it, and the vertical curve has got a K of 19. This is a crest curve, unlike the other one is a sag curve. So this is basically a K of 19 accommodates a 30-mile-an-hour stopping sight distance because of the rate of curvature, vertical curvature. So it's this, as I see, is probably something doable. It should be further evaluated for impacts like the sidewalk along the housing authority property would have to be lowered. Otherwise, the curb would be much too high and other things like that. And off-grading on the other side of the street, but I don't think that's a problem because we know the pinch point, if you will, is the driveway up above. We do know there's a narrow shoulder on that side of the road. I hadn't evaluated whether the grading would work, but quite frankly, hearing that there's another option C on the table, I see this as, probably something to consider along with the other option C. And again, my first focus would be on impacts of lowering the road at the driveway number 6 and 8 and impacts to the shoulders to make sure that either would work. But the thought here was to try to get the best possible situation given all the physical constraints of the site and the roadway and so forth. And that 8.9% that is worked up here, that's about the steepest grade in the existing portion of Snow Road down near the approach to Worcester Street. So I don't see the grade getting any worse. It's a longer 8.9%, but it doesn't get any steeper, and it takes the 8.9% away from the intersection approach to Worcester Street. I'd like to stop there and answer any questions or continue discussion, but I've got nothing more to offer. I just wanted everybody to see this picture here, and I'm hoping it could also get shared with the applicant's team.
Yeah, Jeff, so this is the same option C that we talked about. Essentially is instead of meeting Snow Road at Maxwell, we're meeting Snow Road at 6 and 8. The driveway for 6 and 8. So it's essentially the same option C. And I think at this point the applicant will probably go off and come up with something similar to this or explain why it can't be done. So thank you for that. Jeff, getting back to what has been presented as far as A and B, you've acknowledged that B has too substantial of cuts, so I think B is off the table. I think we're all in agreement on that. Do you have any commentary on A? I mean, are we basically okay with A? Is there any serious concerns with A? I think we're looking at C as just C could be better, but if C can't be done, do you have any commentary on A?
My commentary on A is that I don't have any major concerns with it whatsoever. The 10% grade is not unusual in many old country roads, if you will, in Grafton and other communities. Unfortunately, the 10% near approach to an intersection, it could work as far as I'm concerned. The toughest times, of course, is during inclement weather when there's snow or ice on the road before the salt's gotten onto the road.
Yep, got it.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. But I don't have any problems with option A. My thought was just like the horizontal alignment months ago is is this the best step going forward, or is there something that can be done a little bit better?
Yep.
Quite frankly, option A to option C, there's not a big difference with respect to grades. It's a slight reduction. And that, in my opinion, is good. And then it's a matter of what is the other ramifications. For example, the utility poles in the sidewalk, perhaps with even a 1.5 to 2 foot cut or reduction in elevation, those poles might have to be replaced with poles that are drilled deeper, which without changing the alignment of overhead wires and changing certainly T intersection wires down at Worcester Street, in my opinion, it's a pretty low lift, pretty easy lift to change out a pole, if you will. It's similar to what's done when there's a traffic accident and a pole's damaged. But that's a lot better than having to reroute poles and change wires and all that.
Dan, go ahead.
Jeff, it's Dan. I have two questions. The first question is, I didn't quite follow you as to why the 8% grade doesn't work, because just looking at your diagram, it seems to match. The grade seems to match up right before the driveway at 6 Snow Road.
it did, the 8% grade, Dan, still does not have the vertical curve, a crest vertical curve at the top. If we could scroll down
The other way.
a little bit more.
Right, that's good.
I saw that it's still a straight line. It's a constant grade going up toward the driveways. I still needed to get a vertical curve to bring it from the 8% grade to the existing 3.6% grade that goes across the driveways, which would take about, if I remember correctly, somewhere up around 90 to 120 feet. And there just wasn't room between the end of the orange line and the pink driveways there to do that.
I see. And then I guess related to that though, is it possible, or is there even any value to making the leveling area a little bit longer? So I think the 5% leveling area was, what, 30 feet?
30 feet, yeah.
Is there any value, Jeff, in maybe extending that to, say, 70 feet or 100 feet, and then basically sacrificing an 8 or 9% grade, but going up to 10 further up? I mean, they're all trade-offs here, but I guess what's better for safety? Is it better to have a more gradual 8% grade or a 9% grade versus 10? Or is it better to have a longer leveling area?
Thinking.
I think
It's-
if you went with a longer leveling area, I think you'd need more than a 10% slope to catch up.
So are you willing to go over 10%? Are you willing to go 12%? It's all taking from here.
But go ahead, Jeff.
And to there.
I was giving you time to think.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you,
'Cause I
John.
was thinking of you too, Jeff. What is he gonna say?
Yeah, a longer leveling area is nice, but in this situation, it comes at the expense, and I agree with John 100%. We're probably looking at grades around 11, 12% area, which puts the car in motion in slippery conditions where maybe somebody can manage a 9% grade. It's all theoretical. I know that once I start skidding, thinking back to my teenage days, it's hard to stop skidding once you start, but if you're in control, you can, feather the brake and come to a stop, or hopefully not encroach, slide too far out into the intersection. So I'm more leery, right now, I'm thinking off the cuff here, I'm more leery of 11 or 12%. And if you want to look at 12%, if anybody take a ride up Christopher Drive, my understanding is that's 12% coming down to Pleasant Street. That's got a long leveling area. And what I've been told by the DPW employees that used to sand and salt that years ago, that's a good example of what we don't want to do anymore. And that's why the subdivision rules and regs went to 10%, and now they're down to 8%. So thinking on that perspective of an operator running the sander or salter through there, I'd like to avoid the 12%, even though it's a much shorter 12% run than the long Christopher Drive 12%.
Is it worth, Jeff, just asking John to maybe just sketch out? I mean, we're just kind of speculating that it would be 12, but is it worth just having you just do that exercise and seeing if you're going to elongate that leveling area a little bit without going over 10%? Or is that not worth it, Jeff?
If you're asking me, I think it's a pretty simple exercise, and it would give the visual to the ZBA to help better understand the whole situation. I don't think it's a big ask to put that together.
I guess,
My thinking is, we extend the leveling area, then the whole thing just shifts. And I guess, so I'm not quite, and I'm a visual person, so I may need to see the picture to see that, no, it doesn't just shift, we actually have to get steeper, so.
Exactly. That pink blob on the top right needs to stay there. Well, that's there. And whereas their driveway is already about a 6% grade, dropping the road down, in other words, extending the vertical realignment to the right of their driveway, means their driveway gets steeper, and
That's not an option.
that driveway just keeps climbing from the edge of pavement all the way up. So
Yeah.
it's kind of a fixed. We got two fixed points: Worcester Street, and now
Right.
I very much realized that the driveway to number 6 and 8 is another fixed point, and that's all we got to work with.
Yep, understood.
Mr. Chairman, can I ask Jeff a question?
Absolutely.
Jeff, Steve Encasa, I was talking to the board earlier about the fact that we were at 9%, what are we?
No, 10%.
10%, and,
Like a
and,
length of 100.
and I was telling them it was only 100 feet and that it wasn't that significant. Do you want to elaborate at all on the length of the roadway, where right now we're 10% and the length of the road if it was a 12% and how those two factors, again, I was stating that it was a short distance and it wasn't that significant versus if that was 300 feet long at 8%, that would seem worse than 100 feet at 10%.
You're absolutely right, Steve. The longer a climb, let's say accelerating up the street, the harder it is to climb, and getting momentum. If it's a short little steeper place, if it's coming away from an intersection, it's just as tough as a 10%. But if you were, let's say, traveling along at speed, whether it's 30 miles an hour somewhere or 50 miles an hour, if you come up a short little rise, a loaded truck, you can make it up over that pretty easily. Long run, at some point, you might be downshifting. Looking at it in the downhill direction, again, short's nicer, but steep is the thing that gravity pulls us down something steep. And again, thinking about not wet conditions, which roads are typically designed for, but thinking about the ice and snow. If you can keep a vehicle from getting into a skid to begin with, they might be all right. So even, a short at 12% versus a little longer at 9%, I'd be inclined to lean to the 9%, but I don't have any data or research or any publication to back that up.
Thank you, Jeff.
Welcome.
Okay, any questions from the board? So I think where we are at this point is we've got an option A. We just have some thoughts about a C, and I don't know if it's even a D that would extend the leveling area. We just maybe draw some of that out and show us what does or doesn't work.
Okay.
Any other questions or comments?
Sidewalks.
And then sidewalks. We talked about a little bit more detail on the sidewalks. So let's get that resolved as well. Moving on to the site plan. Do you want to talk? I think you've made some changes to this. Do you want to talk about those?
Yeah, the only change we made in the last iteration, they were looking at having a garage, which was over in that back
Yep.
right closer. So we got rid of that
Maintenance
garage, and
We put it under building 1.
Yeah, that's going to go underneath building 1 with
Okay.
what the under is.
It's mainly appliances and appliance parts that we store there.
So and then so we got rid of that, so there wouldn't be
Some plumbing
hypothetically
fixtures.
somebody down the road decides to store fertilizer or something ridiculous over there. So we got rid of that. So and that would be, like Steve said, underneath in the lower level of building 1.
Again, we don't have any fertilizers on site at any of our properties right now, but I guess it could happen in the future, so we moved it.
Yep. One comment that I have, it's probably sitting back at my desk. Somewhere the fire department said they wanted that access road behind the buildings to be paved.
They want it to be. They don't want it to be, grassed or they want to have it something that can be plowed, so that if there's a snowstorm and they want something that can be accessible year round.
So like I said, I just tried to find it out. So I think it might be home, but I'm quite certain that, and I think it's the most recent communication we got from the chief, actually used the words paved.
Yeah, so a solid surface that can be plowed. So if
Okay, you're saying that. I
Yeah.
thought it said paved.
that
So
is-
we just want to make sure. I understand what's written here is a stable surface that
Right,
they can set up their truck on.
correct.
What I thought I read was paved, which is different than what's being drawn here. And I think you just want to make sure
Right,
that we're doing what the fire department wants.
right. And the, from aesthetics to have an asphalt
I agree.
driveway is, wrapped around the building. If it can be definitely a solid drivable surface and be more aesthetically pleasing and almost use it as a walking path as another part of an amenity, that's the goal. That's the goal.
We were wondering if we could make two paths with a grass strip in the middle. That one, but we don't know if that'll be acceptable to the fire department, but that's what we're thinking we're gonna propose now. Obviously, we have to satisfy the fire department, we know that,
That's my point.
Right.
yeah.
So we're trying to ride the line of aesthetically pleasing and obviously functional year round.
Yep.
So that's the goal that we all want it to meet.
So would it be maintained and plowed or just plowable if needed?
They want, so if there is a reason to get back there, they don't want a foot of snow on the ground if they have to get around there. So it has to be, plowed.
So if you did the grass plot in the middle, would that be asphalt, concrete, or gravel? The part that the wheels are on?
We could actually do it any surface.
Yeah.
Down the Cape, they do it in cobblestones. Have you ever seen that?
Seashells.
No, but, that would be aesthetically pleasing too.
I know, we're not gonna do that here, but
Oh,
Yeah.
gee.
So
we're gonna do it at your house, Peter.
whatever is acceptable by the fire department, and the goal is to make it functional and hopefully aesthetically.
More than likely, it's gonna be asphalt. And we don't like the idea, but that's
You mean with a grass plot in the middle if you could?
possibly, unless they say no, and then
I
we'll.
mean, I wouldn't have a problem with that myself.
Can you plow that though with the grass?
Oh, yeah.
In the middle?
Oh, yeah.
It's easier than plowing gravel. At least it plows on,
You can plow grass?
huh?
You can plow grass?
Not good.
Once it's frozen.
Not good.
The plow's gonna ride in the asphalt. It's not gonna ride on the grass. The grass is down.
Oh, it's lower.
You'd have to raise it up and then keep the grass.
The grass is down
lower.
below the asphalt.
Oh, okay.
Mr. Chair, I've got the email if you want me to.
Does it say paved?
Yeah, so, with both option A and B from the last plan sets, the fire department access road would need to be paved with asphalt, to handle the weight of the fire department apparatus and ensure it's maintained throughout all seasons of the year.
But you got the point. And
got the
you've said
We
it.
do.
Whatever they want.
Whatever they want.
They want you to paint it pink, then you
We
have
got
to
the
paint
point.
it
We
pink.
don't like it, but we got the point.
Yeah.
We don't like it.
Understood.
It's all these safety things that they want.
That'll never get
Such
used.
a
The whole life safety thing, huh?
Hopefully
It'll
not.
never get used.
Hopefully not.
It's a
Yeah.
fully sprinkled building.
You hope so.
Yeah.
It's a fully sprinkled building. It'll never get used.
That's the idea. All right, so the only change you made on
Yes.
the site plan is the garages or it's no longer maintenance, it's regular
Ma-
garages.
Yeah.
So I guess in theory, we pick up, 4 more spots or 8 more spots, whatever?
Yeah, is it 2-4? Is it
Okay.
2 4 stalls or 2?
Any questions or comments from the board?
The whole, on the basement or the whole plan?
The
Well, the playground area.
whole plan?
The dog park is bigger than the playground, but could the playground be that whole square there?
Well, we think there's a value of just open space, just grass, because people will,
I mean, will it be fenced in or
No.
open? Oh.
No.
Oh, so the
There'll be
whole,
a fenced-in official playground area with equipment, and I believe Cohen, for insurance purposes, you need.
it is fenced in or won't be fenced in?
Colin Babcock. No, it won't be. The playground won't be fenced in, but for insurance purposes, you need 10 feet around the entire playground of clear space.
Okay.
The dog park will be fenced in. The playground won't.
So, I mean, everybody could walk on the grass anyways then?
Correct.
So, okay. So the whole thing would probably be used as a playground.
Right. And then if
Okay.
somebody wants to.
we
Run
typically
across.
put a different surface under the playground area. Sometimes we put a rubberized surface, just because of the wear and tear.
And the rest would be grass?
Yes,
With loom under it, yeah.
yes.
I took a ride, through Millbury the other day. And your apartments on, is that Canal Street?
There's some on Canal and some on, Howe Ave, both.
Oh. Oh, is that yours? Howe Ave way
Yes.
down on the left? Oh, okay. I'll check them out too, but,
Is that like up on a hill?
Yes.
One on Howe Ave.
I saw the one on Canal, and I noticed because of just the little storms we've been having, probably 10 or 12 car spots are taken up with snow piles. I don't know if,
I think there's 2 or 3, and actually we had a machine in there today moving that out.
I figured they would be, but did you load it out and truck it out?
No,
or-
we just brought a loader in and moved it to another spot. There's a lot of areas that we can place the snow.
Where-
Still, you know,
Where would you do that here? I'm curious where you'd put snow here.
do we have snow storage areas on the plan?
We do.
I never did apartment complexes. I did computer companies and state roads and town roads, but I've never done apartments like this. And just driving through that, to me, it's a nightmare because some of the cars never move.
Well, we would put the snow typically on the parking areas further away from the building until we found that things tightened up, and then we remove it. And we're doing that now. That we've got some snow on some parking lots on all of our projects, and we just sent the machine in there today, as a matter of fact,
Yeah.
to remove that in anticipation of the next storm coming up. So that's something that we just manage internally.
After Monday, if anybody's going by apartment complexes. No, really. Really, if you're going by a big apartment complex,
Yeah.
I'll get an education seeing it, but,
They remove
Well, if you don't want to have to worry about plowing snow, just move into one of our developments. We take care of the whole thing for you, Peter. I'm serious.
If I may, on that point, Peter, I see the big grass area just north of the dog park is a great place that, going in for a few days after a storm and just bucketing stuff around that area there. Also to the left of building number 5. A little bit down, a little bit down, a little bit down, and left and left and left. Yep, another area. I used to work at where we used to have to snow plow an office park where it wasn't wide open. It was all these little nooks and crannies, and I can remember to the point where we had to do a couple all nights and just pushing it around. And it's amazing where you can find places away from landscaping and intersections and all that. Even if it's 50 yards here and 50 yards there on grass, sooner or later, you can stack up a lot of snow. Just got to get the cars moved out of the parking spaces so you can bucket it over there.
We're probably going to have about 40 spaces empty on this project, which would give us a lot of snow storage without even coming off.
really?
Yeah, we think so.
Oh.
But that could move down to 10. That could move up to 0. We don't. It depends on how demographics move in and
Right.
how many cars they have and all the rest.
So,
Do you anticipate hauling snow off the site?
No, not really.
Okay. Because that would be a lot of truck traffic.
Yeah, we don't anticipate that.
So, at this point, I think we have a plan. Well, I'm just going to say it. I think we're at the point where we need to start moving forward with a plan. And by start moving forward, I mean it's time to start telling the applicant we need to get the waiver requests. Dan needs to start thinking about writing and drafting a decision with conditions. And we need to start, wrapping this up. I don't know. As I've said, I'm okay with what is being presented here. This site plan A with the new modifications, the idea of the 4-story buildings and that sort of thing. I don't know how other people feel, but I think at some point we need to just decide we're going forward with something. And I think if others really hate what's sitting in front of us right now and they're gonna vote no matter what happens, no way I'm gonna do this. And I think we owe it to the applicant to tell him, and so he doesn't waste any more time. But I don't think we're there. I think I'm okay with this. I think we should have him start getting waivers in front of us, and Dan should start drafting a decision. Okay, others, how you feel about this?
I agree.
Thank you.
I agree.
If it was half the size, I'd feel better.
Understood.
Come on up to the ridings, Pete.
What's that?
Come on up to the ridings. Up Adams Road.
Oh,
Alex?
Yeah, I would say I would agree with you, Bill. I mean, I think you guys have done I do think it's going to be a great looking project, but I think there's obviously some some things that we need to put on paper. So yeah.
With respect to waivers, you guys have not been in front of us with a 40B. We don't do, some people like the idea of blanket waivers. We just waive the whole bylaw. We don't do that. If you're encroaching on the setback at some point, then we need to identify where, and we need to have a waiver for the setback requirement. So we want to be specific about the waivers. We don't, and that's maybe gonna be a little tedious and take a little time, but that's the way we've done the dozen or so 40Bs that I've been involved with in town. And, that's our expectation at this point. As far as conditions, Dan, I think you've got a handle on what we've been talking about, the various conditions. Obviously, we still have some work to do on the intersection and that sort of thing, but I think we can start working in that direction, and start moving this forward.
And just on the waivers, we do like to see a breakdown of where you comply and don't comply with the planning board subdivision rules and regs, even though this is not a subdivision, road design standards, road width, things like that, depth of pavement,
Right, so
and
this-
subbase, and
This is the regulation. This is what's proposed. This is the,
Yeah.
just to,
if you've seen our other decisions, you'll see how we do it.
I'll do
It's in tabular form, and if I can actually send that to you in Word.
Yeah.
oh, that'd
And
be
then you
great.
could take what we've done in the past and just modify that.
That'd be perfect.
Yeah.
That'd be perfect.
Yeah, I would imagine the last two decisions would be good.
Yeah, because they're both apartments.
The
Yeah.
Pleasant Street and
Yeah.
Upton Street.
Does the planning board have regulations for like parking lots and this type of thing? I thought it was just roadways.
No, I think they do.
Uh,
Parking.
Parking lots? I don't know.
Jeff would know.
The parking lot information is in the zoning bylaw. There's a section for parking and loading.
But that's, okay.
Yeah, and for site plan review, when I review site plans on behalf of the planning board, the planning board will either be considering special permits or site plan approval or both. And, again, we look to the zoning bylaw with respect to parking and whatever information you may be concerned about.
Gotta give us a copy of the other decision.
Any other comments or thoughts or questions? This is a public hearing. Does anyone in the audience care to comment or speak? And do we, oh. She's getting up, so I'll assume that's a yes.
I just wanted to make sure I have my thing correct. I'm Tammy McClure. I live on 24 Suzanne Terrace. I'm not sure if we have discussed this since Jay Cummings had talked about the fact that we need an override. Our schools are in great danger of losing a lot. So he did mention too that these developments are going to have a big impact on our schools. And so that is something to take into consideration. So if you're still doing 200 housings, I know they claim that it's only going to be like 9 kids, but with the housing shortages, we're going to have families in these buildings. And I know that, like, especially North Grafton, we don't have any extra space, never mind having more kids. Like, we can't make another classroom. And again, we have the potential of losing, I think, what do you say, 15 teachers? I don't know, someone can correct me on that. So this is very concerning to have this type of development. And again, we had talked about this, about the road, Snow Road coming down to, and I was listening to him and, oh, well, we can't do that. And we're just going to do the right away. We've asked this developer to do these traffic things, talk to DOT. He claims he can't talk to DOT. I have a hard time believing that DOT won't just like talk with him and say, okay, so if you have this, you want to propose something like this. Like, there's no reason why they can't have a chat, not have to do any kind of signatures for that. So that's very frustrating. I'm still very concerned about our water. Again, crappy water in Grafton. This is going to have an effect. I don't think that they're taking that into consideration as much as they have. I know that we had a neighbor that had come and spoke about it before, about, I don't have that information with me, about how it's going to drain. And I don't know what happened with the veneer pool that they were supposed to have. There's so many things that they said they were going to do, so many surveys. They were going to have a traffic survey done on the road to see how many cars are going. And it's just really frustrating because it feels like every time I come here, all I hear is, oh, yeah, we'll do it. Oh, no, we haven't. And so I understand that you want to move on with this project and, you know, it's critical because of the whole safe harbor thing, but it's extremely frustrating because we come here, some of the neighbors, we try to come here as much as we can, but this has just been, I feel like he's just making excuses, hoping that we'll run out of safe harbor. And I really hope that we take this other stuff into consideration, especially since we literally just had this conversation with Jake Cummings and the school system and how we're not doing so well. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Just one comment on that. And this may be a question for Dan, but I believe the environmental stuff, the vernal pool, is all, they still have to meet those regulations and still have to do that survey in the spring. So those don't go away. Those are all still required.
Well, it depends. It depends if the state jurisdiction. So I think you said you're going to do an NOI after this because it's work within the buffer.
Mm-hmm.
So they will go in front of Conservation Commission under the state act. The local bylaw is subject to waiver by us, but we don't have to waive the bylaw, or we can waive some of the bylaw and other parts of the bylaw. So the Conservation Commission can require the applicant to do the survey for a vernal pool. I know the issue you're talking about is in the upper right-hand corner, I don't know what direction that is, of the site where there may be a vernal pool up there.
Right.
The commission may require them to do that survey. You can obviously go to the commission hearings. And if there is in fact a vernal pool there, then they'll have to make adjustments to their design so they comply with those standards.
Okay, so when you do, if you do decide to sign something, that will be in fact, like, they may have to change their whole thing completely if these things are not met.
Well, that's up to them. So if the Conservation Commission makes them do the survey, if there's a vernal pool there and the commission says in their decision they have to treat that as a vernal pool, then they have obligations under state law to make there's performance standards that apply to vernal pools under state law.
Okay.
So they would have to comply with those, and if doing so would require a modification of the design, they'd have to come back to the zoning board to propose that modification.
Okay, that sounds good. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, I can speak a little bit to the school question. I had a bit of an exchange when this hearing first started with Dr. Cummings on enrollment. Because I knew at some prior school committee hearings they had talked about reports they had gotten from NESDEC, which is an agency that they, I guess, community statewide contracted with to do these sorts of projections. And he sent me the latest analysis they got, which is the one he's been referencing in meetings from 2024. It included projects that were currently in the pipeline at that point. And so in those projections, it had this development at 268 units. So this development's already baked into those projections. It actually got 68 more units than are currently proposed.
Can I come back up and I just want to say one more thing though. So when they do these school surveys about having kids in the school, I I had asked this before about having an actual study in reference to the North Grafton schools, especially North Street School. There is zero space there. I mean, there are empty classrooms in the high school. There's, I believe, empty classrooms in the Millbury Street School, but there is zero classrooms at North Street School. And there's no way to even add a room. It is jam-packed. So I don't know if the school committee would be, or Jay would be willing to discuss that, because this project would absolutely cause issues at that school. So just as it is, our classrooms are already higher. We have a lot of kids in the classes more than they should. And with the possible not getting the funding, our classroom sizes are going to get bigger. And without even being able to have another classroom, it's just, the kids are going to be in there like sardines. So just another thing to consider. Thank you.
The way I've always understood it, and correct me if I'm wrong, Dan, we can't even consider schools, sewer, or anything like that. And isn't it in the state's opinion, if we say something, we're gonna down this project because of schools, they're gonna say, build a new school? If we need sewer capacity, they're gonna say, add on to your sewer system?
But you're in safe harbor. So you can.
Right,
Now, you're in safe harbor. When you're out of safe harbor, you're correct.
right. And I know your plight, I'm not.
Confused. Like, so if the state comes back and says, well, you just got to build another school, like, we don't have the money. So how does that work?
It's the same with all the mandates they give all these school committees. They say you have to do this, you have to do that, but we don't give you any money. And that's why we have town meetings and our tax rate goes crazy.
So, like, how can they force that on us if we literally have no money? I just don't understand these, like, mandates, like them telling us, like.
The theory is that, and I don't believe it, but the theory, the policy is that towns have to develop more affordable housing. If it means you have to spend more on infrastructure, then you have to do that as well. So that's the argument, that's a policy argument for requiring towns to have to build their infrastructure to meet their affordable housing demand, even if it's gonna cost money and you have to raise taxes to do that. Now, there are some defenses. I mean, if there's a huge cost that a town cannot possibly do, or if we don't have water, like, for example, some towns don't have water, some towns are out of water, some towns have water limits based upon their water withdrawal limits from DEP. In those types of situations, there's exceptions, and so the Housing Appeals Committee may not force the town to accept a 40B project if that requires some extraordinary expense. But in this case, it's all fact-based. So your scenario is, well, we'd have to build another classroom. So we would have to get into all this evidence, like, what would that take? Is there a room on the site at the school to build a classroom? Maybe not, in which case, yeah, the town could potentially have a defense that to accommodate this project would require the construction of a new school at $20 million, and we can't do that. That could be a defense, but it's unlikely. As Peter said, in 9 times out of 10 cases, the town would lose that kind of argument.
Okay.
And you voiced that there's room at some of the other schools, so the state would just turn around, well, redraw your districts. Change your, make North Street School different grade levels, So, that's really, I mean, the likelihood of doing something like that is slim. But your frustration is, how can the state do this? Well, we're in a bind without this project. And I keep hearing from the school committee that one of the big reasons is unfunded mandates from the state. That's what Peter was alluding to.
Yeah.
Well, how can they do it? I don't know how they can do it, but they do it all the time.
Okay. Well,
And oh, by the way, they're also not going to let you raise your taxes or raise your levy limit by more than 2.5%.
Right.
They do it all the time. How? I don't know. It's way beyond the.
Well, I appreciate you
board.
taking the time to explain that to me, because it doesn't make sense. Like, how are we going to build them?
No,
By the way, it's frustrating to me too.
We can't afford the students we have, so.
I find it frustrating that we're having this debate about, an override. It drives me crazy. I mean, it's just, but, that's the state, the Commonwealth with them.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, just because taxes came up, I know you guys had prepared a fiscal impact analysis for your Perry Priest project in Auburn.
Oh, in Auburn. Okay.
Yeah. Have you guys, I don't remember if there was something in maybe your initial presentation, or have you guys done a fiscal impact analysis additional tax revenue, potential
On this?
impact on,
I
public
think in the
safety or-
original application.
John? To the mic.
Oh, jeez.
Sorry.
I think in the original application package, I think there was, I mean, it was that
Yeah.
thick, and I think that's one of the sections.
I didn't think they did it. I know that the last two apartment, they did, and was very well done.
Even if there was something originally, obviously it's a much different project now.
Right.
It wouldn't be, in my opinion, I think it'd be worth updating or preparing, just to
Yeah, absolutely.
put something out there, this is what, we'd expect for, tax
Additional
revenue.
tax revenue.
Right, right.
And it's not just all positives, right? It's, there's gonna be, an incremental impact on schools, there's gonna be an incremental impact on public safety. And I think, the analysis that was done in Auburn, I think was good. I think we just update it for numbers for this project. It shouldn't be that heavy a lift.
Okay.
Anyone on, line that wants to speak?
Yeah, hold on, Wendy does. Go ahead, Wendy.
Hi. Sorry, I had to be somewhere else today, so I've been trying to listen on Zoom. So I'm still really thrown off how we came to like 200 units because I'm really concerned. Like, that's so big of a project and it's so many people. Like, I'm worried when our wildlife is going to be displaced, our schools are going to be overcrowded, whatever we say they're going to be, because Jay had a number of, it was like over 100 kids came into the district and only like 30 something went out. And those were only approved projects. So I don't know where the projection is with this one, but he was talking about the kids that physically already came in. And then the well's going to end up being contaminated. We talked about snow needs to be moved off of the property. Like, snow comes with contaminants. So now we're melting the snow into our well. And if we continue with this, I'm a little confused about like the option A, but if are we not straightening out, like making a 90-degree angle anymore potentially?
No, we're doing the fork. That's been discussed at the last few meetings. That is
Okay.
being done.
So it is straightening out the angle because
Yes.
most of the traffic that stops me is coming from the left. So I'm really concerned about having like the right turn lane blocking me because the worst part is the CVS. People coming out of the CVS driveway, that CVS is busy. And like when the lights clear, someone's coming out of CVS. It's really hard to make that turn. But so I'm concerned we're going to end up with a fatality. Like, that's so many people. So to us, like, Bill, like, it seems like you had, like, to put it bluntly, a secret meeting. And we went from, like, this is too much, to you being like, I advocate for 200 apartments. Can you share more on how you came to, like, 200 apartments is okay, given all of these things, the well, the added traffic, and then, the stuff that's more minor to most people, but like displacing wildlife and the schools.
You know what? I really object to this, to the insinuation that I had some sort of secret meeting. I object to that strongly. You have absolutely no basis for something like that. I don't know who the hell you think you are, but you do not have a right to insinuate that I'm doing something underhanded. I've been on this board for over 20 years, and my record stands for itself. Shh, you be quiet. Mute her. I had a meeting with the applicant, and I shared that I had that meeting. As for why it seems like I'm suddenly in favor of this, whether anyone likes it or not, we are out of safe harbor in a month. And this applicant can walk away, pull this application, and come back with his original application or bigger, and we're going to be stuck with it. You want 300 units? That's what we'll get. Anybody else?
No.
All right. We need to schedule a next meeting. How much time do you think you need?
Where are we?
So I think, Bill, we need three things from them. They're gonna explore the Snow Road, Plan C. They're gonna give us the waiver list and
Survey.
survey,
And then financials.
financial.
And financial.
Yeah, financials.
Well, the tax analysis.
You're not gonna believe this, but the last meeting we went to, we were back home, made the phone call, ordered that survey, and we still don't have it. We really did order that.
Oh, yeah. And I've been
But
pushing.
unfortunately, we don't control all
Yeah,
the processes
I was told it was gonna be done before the end of the year.
before Christmas.
He didn't say which year.
Yeah, so we're not ignoring you.
so-
We heard you last time, we ordered that right away, and we didn't get it.
Yeah, and then I made the second, I said, where, we need the location of the neighbor's wall. Oh yeah, we're gonna, so.
The fact is that we believe that there's not enough room there, but we need to specifically locate it and show you.
Right.
We
And
know
so I've
that.
been killing them with kindness.
We know that.
To push them along, and so that's why when I'm looking, all this other stuff, it's.
I think we can
easy.
have this stuff like in a couple weeks ourselves.
Yeah,
So,
so
but
if we can, and then it's gonna snow Sunday, so it's gonna screw up beginning of next week, so with,
the
If we have
waiver
a-
thing would probably take the longest, the waiver list on.
I feel like the survey is less important because we can impose the condition, and if it
Okay.
doesn't work with the survey, they can come back.
Yeah.
But I think with the waiver list we need for the decision.
Waiver list we definitely need.
I think that's the most important thing from our
Yeah.
perspective,
Right.
and I think yours.
and we had an initial waiver list with the original application, which obviously with that needs to get tweaked and modified and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And if
I'll
we
send
can-
the, I'll
if
send
you
the,
can send
Word
that,
document tonight or tomorrow.
yeah, I mean, we could probably have that
Do it
in a
right now.
couple of weeks,
So give us 3 weeks on it. So,
3 weeks.
Would it be,
That'd be
would,
the earliest.
No.
I think somewhere between.
would it be possible to get a balloon test to see how high those buildings are? I'm not asking for the,
We gave you something better than that. We paid a lot of money for that, what was it called?
the video,
Yeah,
but it had leaves.
speak to that.
So that
Please.
3D rendering that was done to scale. They used GIS maps. We did a survey, the whole street area survey. He had the survey, he had the plans, he had the GIS maps. It was pretty extensive, and like Steve said, it costs a lot of money to have.
No, I
it was-
realize,
it
and
was
I'm
to
not
scale.
asking for that in the winter, I'm just, there was leaves on it. So you couldn't, they hide everything. Is a balloon test
Well,
really expensive?
They're below the trees. Regardless whether you do it with leaves or without, it's below the tops of the trees. If the building could be 20 feet tall, if there's no leaves, you're going to see it.
It's not a practical thing. What we did for you was way better and way more expensive, what we gave you. The balloon test would have been like really cheap and easy, but it wouldn't have been realistic as what we gave you.
So can you do the balloon test or not?
We're gonna go to Party City.
Just go get a balloon.
I mean, it's a big balloon, but.
No, I mean, what do you think?
I wasn't impressed. They spent all that money for that video, and
I agree. I think the video's obviously the best thing, but if you want a balloon test.
I didn't like it, but I'm only one member, so.
I was okay with the video.
Were you?
Yeah.
I'll go into the office. I'll look at it again. I'll have Katrina pull it up because if I try, it'll take me a week. So.
All right, so
The top of the 26th.
Which-
February.
That's
February.
perfect.
which,
Is it?
well, we have a continuation scheduled for that night.
Wait,
so,
what date?
The 26th.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Bowman.
Is it something easy?
They've requested a continuance, but.
so essentially it's an empty meeting at this point, but Kay is not here.
Oh. All right, so
Oh, that's right, you're gone.
March 5th.
Was somebody else not here?
I may not be
so-
Are
here.
you
Second
gone
week
that
of
whole
March.
week?
We wanna make sure
Sure
that
there's
we go
enough
to
time,
the Dominican.
so not just bake in
Costa Rica.
your time to prepare the waiver list.
I wanna
think it
review.
makes sense to bake in enough time for Jeff to review it. So if we set a meeting date, I think it should be enough lead time for both of those things to happen with a goal set for the middle that, you know, you guys will definitely get us and Jeff
And then you have
something
time to
by
look
this
at it.
date, and then Jeff will get
Oh,
it
wait,
to us
oh,
by
okay.
the meeting date.
26th of February.
February.
February?
February.
We're talking
Okay, yeah,
26th
no,
of
I'm
February.
I'm leaving the 26th. I'm not back until March 7th.
Wait, wait,
Would you like to do a week after or a week
do
before?
we
that?
normally have Jeff review the waivers?
Yeah.
We do, okay.
Or could we do,
February-
does it have to be a Thursday?
No,
Sometime
So
Wednesday.
could we do earlier in that last week of
25th?
The
February?
25th?
so.
Yeah.
What's your available?
20, yeah, I leave on the 26th, so yeah, the 25th.
25?
Is it Wednesday?
It's a Wednesday.
Oh, I'm bad. Sorry.
24.
That's fine with me, but
We
we won't get the,
we
will
won't
we
get this room. Hold on, let me double check.
Do they have meetings
That's-
on the
that's
fourth?
late.
I'd rather do
But
the
that's select
24th.
board.
No.
And they're gonna be doing
Is there another
budget
room?
and stuff. Well, we could go up to, nope, school committee's up in F.
Oh.
Unless they do a combined meeting and they're both in the same room. I don't know.
19?
The 19th,
I'm all right with that.
Thursday the 19th?
Yeah, that
That's-
works.
Is that school vacation week?
School
It
vacation
is
week.
school vacation week.
I can do it. I'm leaving Friday, so that's fine.
Yeah.
It's 4 weeks, yeah.
The
So can you
19th
get
is-
the waivers to us by the 5th?
Probably 2 weeks. Yeah,
Yeah, so 2 weeks before?
yeah. I
So that
think
gives us 2 weeks
2
before
weeks
the
to get
meeting.
everything done and get them to me. Get them to me to get them to them.
So the
19th?
The 5th?
February 19th.
And we are closed on Monday the 16th, so
Monday the 6th.
President's Day.
President's Day.
President's Day, but
Yeah.
we would want them by the week of the 2nd, no later than probably Monday the 9th. We would
Well,
want
okay.
them by.
How long does Jeff need though? Jeff, are you around?
Jeff?
I am around. 19th works fine for me. I'm sorry, what was the date that they were gonna get the waiver request to you, Katrina?
Hopefully by Monday the 9th.
Oh, yeah, no problem. I'll make a point that I'm ready, and, usually what I do is sit through the meeting and engage in the discussion, but you usually don't see a letter from me ahead of time. Is that acceptable? I'll be prepared. That's not a problem. Or do you
If
need
that's what you
something in
usually
writing?
do, I think that's fine. That's worked in the
Yeah,
past.
I'll bet
Yeah.
that's what it is. I don't necessarily remember a letter.
Yeah, I mean,
No.
if you can get it to me a couple days before the meeting, that way when we're at the meeting, if we've got your comments teed up, that's helpful for me.
Well, no, what he just said is he doesn't normally do a letter. So he would just be prepared to talk
Oh, on the.
as
the
we're going
waivers.
through them.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
what he's usually done before.
Is that what? Okay.
Yeah.
You don't mark them up, Jeff? I forgot.
I'd be glad to mark them up and send those over to you, Dan, days before the meeting.
Jeff,
But I usually don't issue a formal letter.
yeah, just do whatever you normally do.
Okay. Yep. I'll get your notes. Yeah. However. Yeah. Okay. We're good.
So what day are we proposing the meeting?
19th.
The 19th.
19th?
19th.
Yeah, okay.
And John, I just sent you the email with the Upton Street draft decision, which is well, it's the final decision in Word with the waiver table at the end.
Beautiful. Thank you very much.
All right, then, I'll entertain a motion to continue case number 910 to, February 19th at 7 PM.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, motion made and seconded. Roll call vote. Ms. Reed?
Yes.
Mr. Waller?
Yes.
Mr. Adams?
Yes.
Mr. Mejia?
Yes.
Vice Chairman votes yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night.
Thank you.
850 points today.
Wow.
Can we just punt on the,
That's a Greenland.
I'll be happy to.
Or just now?
They're happy with me now. We got the other month.
is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Reed?
Yes.
Mr. McCusker?
Yes.
Mr. Adams?
Yes.
Mr. Mejia?
Yes.
Chairman votes yes. We're adjourned.
Can't wear it.
Thank you, Miss